What is up, everybody? I'm George Mossey. I'm here with my co-host, Heather C. So 90 Day Fiance Season 9, Episode 12 has aired. We're a little late this week because I was out of town, but I have to touch on some of the things that happened on this episode. It was a lot. First things first, Emily and Kobe took a week off. We do not know what's going on with them in Salinas, Kansas, so we will check back in with them later. I want to jump in and talk about Eve and Mohammed, right? So we saw a really wholesome family scene with Mohammed and Theron and Eve at the gym, and Theron is really good at parkour, which that's something I'm terrible at. So congrats to Theron for being so amazing at that, because I wish I could do that without breaking my neck. But before we could get home that day, the conversation took a turn because Eve has decided to, I don't want to say Eve decided, the venue fell through and they're pushing the date back 1 month, which Mohammed can't really accept because each month that they wait is another month he can't work and he can't get a green card and even go visit his family. And he feels responsible for his family back in Egypt. And the sooner he can work and help them, the better. And it's a lot to take in because Eve is looking at it as, this is my wedding. I never thought that I was going to even do this. It has to be perfect. And Mohammed is looking at it as, let's just go to the courthouse and get this done and start the paperwork. So where are they going to meet in the middle?
It kind of is starting to sound like more of a business transaction than like an actual relationship. She's kind of looking at it as, I am a woman who's already established. I have a kid, I didn't think I was going to get married. So when I do it, I want to do it right. And he's just kind of like, I want to work. I want to take care of my family. And that kind of sounds like he's not in it for the right reasons. Like, come here for the American dream to bring back money to your country. So like I said, I don't know him. I could be completely wrong, but like, that's just how it's coming through. So,
well, yeah, touching on what you said, he did bring up to his friend Rafi that the idea of bringing in a new sponsor, which would be a new wife, is on the table for him. He said that he doesn't have anyone lined up, but he said if she can't make this happen for him, he was willing to make it happen another way. So touching on what you said, it is looking a lot like a business transaction. And unfortunately, Eve might just be a piece of the puzzle, not necessarily the woman that he needs, but a piece of the puzzle in that transaction. All right, so I want to talk about Patrick and Thais. So a week after they get back from Vegas, Patrick is still struggling with the idea of Thais not telling her dad that she's on a trip to marry him. She told her dad she was there to visit and get to know him, but that is not the case. And Patrick is actually at the point where he doesn't want to marry her unless she tells him, but she's not really budging. Like, in her mind, she kind of feels like this is how it's going to be. We'll tell him after the fact and you have to deal with it. And is this a big deal? Like, would you marry someone without telling your dad? Because I know in different cultures, everything is different. So we have to understand when people come from different cultures, it's different. But would you marry someone without telling your dad and then telling him after the fact?
well, I think my decision would be different than hers. I personally would tell my parents regardless, but I think that in this case scenario, she's doing what is best for her. And I know he's looking at it as, well, I don't want your dad to think that this was my doing. And if he does already not like me, this is definitely going to make him not like me even more. But he needs to trust the process. Like, this is her father, this is her family, they're extremely close. If she's willing to put her own relationship and feelings on the line, he needs to respect that. She needs to be able to tell people her business when she's ready. And it's not like it's going to be traditional anyways. Her dad isn't there to walk her down the aisle. I mean, he obviously didn't go to her father and ask permission. You know what I mean? Because if he did, then the dad would already know that, she was there with intentions of getting married. So I think in this case that he should just let her take the driver's seat. And if she's like, dude, this is my dad, I wouldn't tell you what to tell your mom or your brother or whatever. He needs to just show that respect And if it blows up in her face, then that's the consequences that she's going to have to deal with.
All right, so I was going to ask about John and how John has been involved, but I think you just answered the question, because I was going to say, do you think it's proper for John to be interfering and talking to her? He entered the kitchen while Thais was making stroganoff, which had ketchup and mustard and chicken, which I don't know if that's like a cultural dish, but it didn't look very good, but I would have to try it. Do you feel like John is overstepping his boundaries by kind of confronting her about the relationship between his brother and her? Do you think that that's his place? Because he feels, since Patrick is his brother, it's his business. But how would you feel if someone was interfering in your relationship?
I mean, I understand that he wants to have his brother's best interest in heart, but I feel like in a lot of situations, siblings always, they dabble more than they should in their siblings' relationships. I think that they look at it as like a protection thing, like, well, that's my family, I'm going to protect them, I'm going to have their back. But what they don't realize is that sometimes they take it too far and it's too detrimental. And he comes to the part sometimes where he's taunting her. And it's like, if you love your brother and your brother loves her, and we assume she loves him, then you need to chill out a little bit, because you're pushing too much. You're interfering too much. Because I feel like every time he gets a clear shot, he's always jabbing at her, or he's always talking down to her. Kind of like a jealousy situation. I don't know if it's because like he's the third wheel, like she came and like took his brother away, or whatever the situation is, but he needs to chill a little bit, because that's their relationship at the end of the day. He could care about his brother, but you don't want him to lose his relationship because you're dabbling too much.
Speaking of chill, Thais overheard Patrick and John talking about the idea of a bachelor party. And Thais has made it very clear there will be no bachelor party. And I'm going to quote her. She said, "If Patrick has a bachelor party, I will kill him and go back to Brazil." That was her exact word. So I'm pretty sure that Thais is not on board with the bachelor party. But John said in the interview, he said, "Oh, there will definitely be a bachelor party, and I will definitely make sure that happens." So I don't know where this is going to end up, because this is going to end horribly, right?
I think that he needs to just chill out and let his brother be. Let it be his decision whether or not he wants to have a bachelor party, because he didn't even really sound like he was on board with it. He was like, why would I want some mediocre person when my female is hotter than the person you're going to get me? So like, why ruin something or make them mad? I think that he just needs to take a break from meddling so hard. It's just, it's a little too much.
It's almost like a job for him, right? Like, it's like
Yeah.
he for ways to insert himself in. And like you said, take a break, let them get to know each other and not be so present in every situation. Let them figure things out on their own, because apparently they can make things happen on their own without so much outside input. Speaking of outside input, I want to talk about Jabari and Miona, right? So we've watched Jabari struggle with outside input, right? His mom, Mahala, his stepfather, and his grandmother. And a lot of people are putting a lot of doubt in his mind about marrying Miona, and he's been questioning whether or not they're right. And we saw scenes last night that told us that no matter what people are really saying, he's still willing to take a chance on Miona. And I feel like these people putting these things in his head did get to him, but I feel like at the end of the day, it's his life, it's his career, it's his music, it's his choice, and he's just gonna have to gamble on it. And I think that with such a short time before the wedding, it's really unhelpful for people to plant so much doubt in your mind for such a huge decision. It's like the most unhelpful thing you could do for someone.
I'm really getting sick and tired of people trying to talk down on Miona so much. Like, I feel like every time somebody gets the chance, it's always to tell Jabari that she's not the one, or he needs to chill out, or whatever. And it's like she's the cause of him not having dreams and goals. And it's like, it's ridiculous, because they're perfect for each other. Like, and it's not because I'm biased either, and them being my favorite, but you can generally look at them and say, at the end of the day, they're together. Like, this isn't scripted. And I have a hard time believing that when I watch a lot of these couples on 90 Day Fiance. A lot of them look like business transactions. A lot of them look like they were put together from TLC, you know, and they're one of the few people that I'm like, all right, at the end of the day, if they weren't on a show, they would be together. And they're so complimentary. And I think that they want his best interest in heart, but I don't think they should be so hard on her. Like, other than her wanting a beach wedding, I'm trying to figure out what she did so bad that they think she's like some horrible person that he shouldn't marry her, because she loves him. She's a true ride or die to him. And I think that, you know, there's nothing wrong with them, like I said, wanting his best interest, but like, he doesn't want to mess up and let this one go. And I think he knows that, you know, because they're perfect for each other.
I hope that she gets the wedding she wants. She's, like you said, she's had two requests since she's been in America, and it's a beach wedding and to eventually leave Rapid City. And I don't think, and to leave his parents' home. And none of those requests are outlandish, you know, calling her a spoiled princess or calling her an entitled millennial. She's not asking for a Ferrari. She's not asking for a wedding at a venue that costs $20,000. You know, she's asking for bare minimal things. And like you said, their love is very strong. And I don't feel like anybody could put any thoughts in their head that's going to change the way they feel about each other. And his parents could try, and his grandmother could try. You know, everybody can try to make it not happen. But I know at the end of the day, they're going to end up married and they're going to end up happy. All right, guys, that's it for part one. We're going to come back with part two and talk about ex-husband and current fiance going to buy a pregnancy test for Ariel. And we're going to talk about Shida and Shahida's meeting, which was pretty heated. All right, guys, I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host, Heather C. Thank you so much for joining us. It's the 90 Day Fiance podcast, season 9, episode 12. And we'll talk to you all really soon.